Good morning, folks. We're going to do some artwork today. So give me a moment here to get myself organized here real fast and we'll get started. So checking in on my signal here real fast. Make sure we're coming through loud and clear. And sorry about that clearing of the throat, folks. Is this stable or is it not stable? Check. Is this stable or is it not stable? Yeah, okay. I was getting some delay on the channel that I thought was a little weird, so I needed to check in on that. I'm just gonna grab this link real quick here for some real fast social media posts. We're gonna get to work here in less than a minute, so if you want, you can skip ahead after the bump, and we'll get this underway. But for folks that are new to the channel, what is up? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online, and I am creating an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition called Crystals of Avar. It's in the Eberron campaign setting. You're in the continent of Corvair, in the Carnwood, fighting undead, demons, and necromancers. And I've been an illustrator since 1999. I've been a D&D enthusiast since 1987, and I've been creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition since 2008. There's a ton of stuff that I've already published that's down here. If you want to take a look at my artwork and my books, they all have free previews. Just click through, and then you can click the free preview. If you want to buy one of them to support me, God bless you. But I'd certainly love to have your support with a like, a subscribe, and a bell icon for notifications in the future. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 610 right now. So thanks a lot for new people that jumped on board yesterday. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Really. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way, and we'll get to work. So like I said, like a minute. So here we go. Be this book cover on episode 40. We're currently at episode 577 of this monstrosity. But we are down to, I think, the last 8 illustrations. I think I have 8 more illustrations to do after this one here on stream. So that means that there's a strong possibility that we're going to finish in December and have this thing published. And then when we publish a book, so on like Mondays and Thursday nights, like last night, I'll do book design and mechanics design for role-playing games, generally 5th edition. Once the ideas are built and we then play test it, typically on my Discord server, which is linked down below with free access to anyone that wants to jump in. And after we play test it, we'll then go back and clean up the rules, fix the things that we saw needed changing. And once we're happy with it as a game function, we'll code out all the proper language for it to be a book, make sure it gets edited, and then go through the layouts to put the page to put the text on the page, and any gaps that appear in the any gaps that show up on the page, we then fill with an illustration. So once the layouts are done, I then start importing these pages as PDF documents here in Photoshop and start painting. So that's what I've been doing for 577 episodes, is painting all of the art to this adventure, which you'll be able to see once it actually gets published, or you can go back to the backlog here on the Eberron list and check out all that stuff from the past. But right now, so this is what I started off with originally, was just a bust of this orcish druid named Salthusulga. And for those that are interested, that are curious, this is a PDF document. It's digital only. So it fits on your screen like this as a PDF, right? On any device, it's actually built as a 16:9 format image document. And then each column is also 16:9, miraculously. So whether on your device you're looking at one page at a time, or you're looking, or you flip it and then zoom in and look at one column at a time, you can move your way through the adventure from the front to the end. Once we have it completed, we're going to have hyperlinks connecting everything, so it's easy to navigate with a touch. It's designed to be used either at the tabletop, like when you're playing with people live at the kitchen table. You have your DM screen. You can just prop up your favorite. It's a 12-point font text, so it's super easy to read. You can just prop it up behind your DM screen and then flip through the pages as you need and then have your notepad and stuff. It's very easy to organize it online. You can just have this sitting either on a side monitor or as a tab window that you can just kick into. And again, with hyperlinks, it makes it easy for you to be able to navigate around the document from the creatures and the different rooms, environments, and situations that you're engaged with. So this is where it started. It was just basically a bust illustration with all the other plot hooks, basically as an assembly of characters that could potentially employ you for this adventure. But when we did our page layouts, we have all of this space that's open on this page. So I figured, let's put him in a forest and give him some, a body, and then have a well or some sort of like divining pool that he is divining through. So I think we'll have a little bit of fun with this, but for now, what I really need to do is, I think the first thing I want to do is expand on the art here for the actual character. So I'm going to drop the sketch down to a lower opacity. I'm going to bind this into the same folder. I'm going to call it Sagu, and then at the front end here, we'll have the divining pool, and then back here we'll have forest. But I'm going to conceal the elements that I don't need right now and focus specifically on Silgu. So I don't have my tools, so I need to drop down here and open my tools window. There we go. And let's pop this back to black and white. I'm gonna drop down our resolution to what, 5-point line. Seems pretty good. And we're just going to start building this out. Just a lighter, a cleaner sketch than what we have currently is my intention. So obviously, this is a Barghest. It's a wolf demon. You'll see a Barghest later on in the monster manual that we have at the end of the adventure, but it's from the actual D&D monster manual. Barghest is a demon, shape-shifting demon that can either be a 10-foot sized dire wolf or a 3-foot tall goblin. It takes those two forms and uses the goblin form to trick people into circumstances where it can't just maul you as a wolf. So if it can maul you as a wolf, it certainly is going to. It loves to eat souls, but until it can get you all on your own to get consumed, it'll play off as just a little normal goblin. So obviously this guy's wearing the skin of one of them. He's a toughie. And he's got a quest on hand. I mean, he's a diviner. He can't really just go out and fucking play around in the fields with swords and shit. He's got things to look at. So he's going to send off some reliable heroes to go deal with the circumstance. That's where you come on board. He gives you a gate seal, which is it's a magic item that it's like a little rock, and when you throw it at something, if it's a dimensional portal that leaks into another. If it's a portal that leaks into another dimension, it will shut it down. Like it will destroy the portal. That's what gate seals are traditionally in the Eberron campaign setting. So we give the characters one of them to throw at the nexus of the manifest zone where the adventure takes place. Your goal is to destroy the environment that you are, the unnatural environment that you're navigating during the adventure. Find the center and the source of the dimensional rift, and then throw the gate seal at it so that it hits and then seals it up.
So you pretty much just got to get within sight of the Nexus, where the point of origin of the plane, which is being generated by an artifact called the Eye of Mabar. And so while the ritual is performed, it expands and intensifies the connection to its home plane, which is the plane of Mabar, where undead and things that go bump in the dark come from. And if the ritual it takes 46 days to complete the ritual, and if it is completed, then the manifest zone becomes permanent and opens a rift to the realm of darkness. So undead and demons and whatever else is floating around out there can just come through to invade the world. So your characters, your 7th, 8th level characters, are there to prevent the world from being destroyed. How quaint. It can be ran as a one-shot, like as a run and gun. It can be ran Scooby-Doo style as a fetch quest search, like a search mission, basically. There's a lot of options for conversation and diplomacy with the mercenaries that are hired by the necromancers performing the ritual to convince them to turn against their employers and help you save the world. And the way that the dungeon is set up is that it's designed to be a bastion. It was originally a research fortress for necromantic magic that was basically, like, literally buried. And hey, what's going on? What's up, Steve? It's good to see you. I am pretty convinced that starting Thursday night, I want to start laying out how the Spelljammer campaign is going to roll with Storm King's Thunder. So I was talking about that last night during stream, and half convinced myself that I should begin production of the adventure campaign. And this morning it locked in. It's like, yeah, you should totally do that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to totally do that. So starting this Thursday night, we're going to start mapping and building out the Dwarven Citadel that the team is going to have command over. Start building out the mecha that the team will have command over, determining what different modifications and enhancements I want to have available at each tier. Build out some special bastion facilities for the Dwarven Citadel, and then start preparing the build to make it happen. Probably create a unique bastion events table to reflect the circumstance. Look at different communities, how we want to organize them. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited about this project, and I'm looking forward to it. So, and this is probably the best time to do it because I'm not quite ready to go on other books. Some of them are like just need some off-screen time for me to wordsmith. Writing on stream, like just general writing and text editing and stuff like that, is not very entertaining media for YouTube. I think design can work if it's something that people are interested in, but by far, I think artwork is the most stimulating thing that I can offer people in the process. So that's why I focus so much on doing art. But I like keeping people updated on what it is that I'm building, and to demonstrate the thinking process that goes on behind actually creating content for a role-playing game, which is why I keep the Monday and Thursday night streams. But it's 2 nights a week and 5 days in the morning. Five mornings each week. That's a pretty sustainable model for me. So I'll eventually figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. But for now, I'm having a lot of fun with this. going to grab this, copy pasta, and then drag it over. That's a decent way. That's a decent way to make sure that you're lined up properly, but I want to conceal this for now. So I can rebuild that hand like this. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just curves down, and then he's got a thumb over here like that. Let me draw in the hand like this. That's a pretty good looking hand. I'm really happy with that. First try. Well done. Starting to get decent with hands. There, like that. Let's go back here. Like that. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so let's get rid of those last bits there. Here. I want to drop these things in here like this. This is less rough than the previous sketch, but it's still rough. So we're going to do once we get this cleaned up, we're going to drop that away and just work with this as our sketch, and then clean this sketch up. So it's a very how would I say? It's almost like AI, how it comes up with the initial idea and starts to blend in and fill in the details and unfogify itself during the process. That's very similar to how I literally function in painting art. So like it amuses me how AI, like showing like the pixelated, and then the pixels start to like 1 pixel becomes 9 pixels, become 81 pixels, scaling down. Or 1, 4, and then 16 and 64, and that's probably how I would do it. 128 or whatever. Okay, put the hand like that. I twisted the hand so it was more like this than this, right? So that means I have to change the angle of his thumb. There, that feels pretty good. Thicken that up here. There we go. Hands. Gotta love them. Can't draw them. Can't draw without them. You know? Fucking hands. Do 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 do. This is actually feeling a little pinched, so I think I need to see how his arm comes down to here, and then it hooks up into here, like that. So I need to bring this to here. this in here underneath the claws. Yeah, this will work out. And drop that draping down here like that. That'll work. That is going to work. Drape this across here. I'm going to merge that down. We're at a point where we get to merge it down. So we do that. And let's bring this across here. Let's grab this portion here and let's bring this in a bit like that so we can broaden this out a bit. There, that feels more comfortable. There we go. Actually bring this in a bit here to get a more handsy with it. Yeah, I like that. So let's then grab these. Let's push these back a little bit. Feels pretty good. Let's go with, I think I need to increase the size. Let's do it like that, but I need to, yeah, flatten that so it's in the same plane of perspective as him. That feels a little more natural. Give him, that's what I needed to do, was have him stoop a little bit into it. Oh, that's feeling good. That's feeling really, really good now. That's what was needed. Grab this and pull it out a touch and drop it like that. There, that's all starting to line up real nicely. Nice. Yeah, like that. Let's go. Let's take this pool here again. I want to narrow it down a little bit more. I don't want to tilt it. Oh yeah, I do want to squanch it a little bit more, but I don't want to give it any tilt. I like that. I'm gonna raise that up. We can bring it in. That feels pretty good. And now I can take the whole thing. Shift it a little bit so it occupies the space a little bit better. Now, do I want to make the pool bigger? That feels pretty good. I like how that's occupying the space now. I can actually probably pull it back this way a smidge, raise it up a little. That feels like it occupies good space. So I'm happy with where that's at. Now we have our forest back here. How are you looking? Get you back in alignment with where you should be. That feels pretty good. Get to do some forest stuff behind him, so we'll be doing a little bit of Bob Ross style forest stuff back here. I might just end up doing a Bob Ross painting behind him, behind this, just like make a forest scene here and then just clip it just to have an environmental piece. That might be a whole lot of fucking fun. I'm falling in love with that idea. It'll take a little bit longer to complete it, but I love the idea of doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna probably drop an Eldine Forest Bob Ross style painting in the background here, and then we'll fill him in the rest as we go. But for now, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. We will probably start the forest process maybe tomorrow. Yeah. Let's do that. We'll do the Bob Ross Forest tomorrow. But for now, let's clean up our artwork. Let's clean up our line work. Make sure it sits where we need it to sit and do what it needs to do, so we can get our foundation in place. Down and drop it like that. This guy's got serious dad bod vibes. That's okay. He's not an adventurer. He's a quest giver. He sends out the able bodies to do what they're able. I'm cool with him dad bod vibing. Kind of leans into the Gatekeeper sect is getting old and weak sort of mentality. This guy would probably try to bash your head in if you said it to his face, but it's evident, right? We'll do that. He's got his wizard sleeves. You know he's big business. Serious dad vibes. That's hilarious. Let's get that there. Yep. It's like a friar. It's like an orcish friar tuck. That's awesome. Okay, so that's okay. So that's our here's our first sketch, and now it's been refined to this sketch, and now we have to refine this sketch into final line art. So it's a process that we go through. So we're going to take that, we're going to drop him away, we're going to take this, we're going to drop that down in opacity to about like here. And then we're going to take another line here. And how are we looking? We're at 7 o'clock right now, so we're doing freaking great. For me to start the forest painting in the background, I need to have him blocked in with his primary colors so that I know how he's going to contrast the background. So that's my objective, is to get this to the point where we're blocking in color flats today with him, and ideally with the well as well. I don't know if I'll be able to get that all done today or not, but that is our endeavor. Forever ever endeavor. Just going to draw on some line art here. I'm mostly tracing At this point, I'm my own tracer, right? Like in comic books. Put a finger in here. Put a finger in here. Finger in here. And here. The foreshortening on this hand should prevent me from having to worry too much about overly precise fingers. That's not too bad. It's not too good. But where we're at right now, it's pretty good. It'll get me to a point where I can block in color behind it, and that's all I really need to worry about right now. I'm pretty content with that. I watched Spencer Confidential with fuck, what's the name of that guy? Matt Wahlberg. That is a fun film. I recommend Spencer Confidential. It has a lot of great gratuitous violence and a lot of fun quirky characters, and the storyline moves fast enough that it doesn't really lull. I want to say it's an hour and 45 minutes. It's basically a ex-cop action adventure. Incredibly worth your time. Great violence. Yeah, really witty dialogue, fun characters. I like how the story moves. It's a well built movie. Spencer Confidential. Mark Wahlberg. Strap in like that. Drape. Drape. There we go. Drape. Drape. We do the initial line art, and then we paint over to improve the details and clean up the lines, and then we paint over that to get us to more of a final product state. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have to kill myself on the details on these fingers. Just have to make it look good enough. I can even hook that pinky in. Something like that. I need to extend this up here. I need to extend this to here. Yeah, that pinky's not working. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. It's feeling a little off. Yeah, it is. I'm going to erase those. I'm going to do that again. I don't like how that's sitting. That's where we're at, like this. And then hook this one in here. It's looking a little squinched. Hey, what's up? Defected. Hey, man, guy. How are you doing? I see you get the pixel capitalized in your title now. Looks pretty good. And here we go. You can do like that. Yeah. Doesn't have to be amazing, it just has to be passable. We'll work on amazing later. That hand is tilted too much. I need to bring that in a little bit like this to match the angle of the fingers. I probably actually need to raise it up all together like that. There, yeah, that feels better. There, get these nails in. More like that. Clean up those lines a little bit. Clean up those lines a little bit. Hey, that looks better. There, like that. Ham fist that on. Get those folds in there. One, two, three. Back here is 4. Perfect. There we go. That's gonna work. Oh, what's up? It's weird. Sometimes it says Defected Gaming. Sometimes it shows it like this, which is technically the username. I don't know. Huh? That's weird. I see art. I watch art. I'm going to the chiropractor today. My hip is out. I got hit by a truck back in my 20s. I was crossing a highway and I didn't notice a truck was there, so it hit me and threw me 100 some odd feet into a ditch, split my head open. But the impact point was my left hip, and nothing shattered. Amazingly, nothing was broken. I split my skull open. I needed 17 sutures to sew it shut, but I didn't break any bones. But I apparently had massive impact trauma in my left hip, from the bottom of my hip up to my rib cage. That's just one solid mass of tension that my body holds, and it's been quiet for years. But when I got COVID, I basically stayed in bed for a week and slept. And when I woke up from it, my hip was just absolutely fucked up. And I've been working on trying to resolve it by learning different stretching and movement exercises, but it's still persisting. So I'm at the point where I'm like, I should just go to a chiropractor and see if it's a simple pop. And I just need to take a little time going there and have them basically put some weight on my hip at the right angle, and it's going to pop back into socket properly. Or if they're going to tell me something more significant. But I figure the time spent learning the stretching, learning the movement calisthenics, it's just going to be healthy for me in general. So I'm in no way upset that I spent the time to do that. But I feel like I'm beyond the realm of home remedies at this point, and I just want to get a professional look at it. So that's what I'm going to be doing later on today. We'll be finishing like usual. I'm going to go to my day job, and in the afternoon, I'm going to go hit the chiropractor. But I'm looking forward to it. I suspect it's a really easy fix. It's just something that's not easy for me to hit the right angle myself, and they may be able to give me a suggestion on how I can self-medicate. But yeah, I'm happy with this line art now. It's good enough, quote unquote, TM, to move ahead, so I can drop away. We've got that sketch there, we've got that sketch there, and we can use this sketch, this sketch material here as texture and grit for the illustration in general. So I don't necessarily want to get rid of it, but I need to heavily de-emphasize it so it becomes very, very background like that. And then we have this sketch. I don't think I need that at all, so I'm just going to drop that one away. Actually, I'm going to bring that back here to 100% opacity and then drop it away. So that's going to be roughly the line art that we need for this guy. Here's our forest. We're going to Bob Ross that. And then here's our vision pool here in the foreground. So I'm happy with his line art. Let's go ahead and block him in real quick, because I need to block him in so I know how to create contrast in the background in the forest against his form. So I'm just going to grab, let's grab that. It's basically lock down his shape so we know where the contrast needs to be. And then starting tomorrow, we'll finish. We'll get as far along as on here and the vision well, the vision pool. We'll see how far we can go. We've still got 40 minutes, so I should be able to move pretty well. I feel like this needs to be extended out a little bit more. So I'm going to grab this here and bring that out. And I'm going to actually free transform, tilt it up a bit. That's my alarm telling me that I've got 40 minutes left. Thank you. We were just talking about that. Let's free transform and then skew this back to straight here. Skewed straight. Perfect. And that line's got to go. There, back to this. So we're blocking. We're just doing comic book flat blocking. And then we'll distinguish the hand color. Hey, what's going on? I got asked quite a bit, why do you start with big blocks of green? I'm like, it helps with the contrast and I can see the shapes easier. Yeah. Yeah, you're basically contrast mapping. By blocking things in, you can see how one stands out from the other, and you can really affect mood and just the effectiveness of the illustration overall. Blocking is just a great idea in general. We'll do that. Yay, that looks pretty good. This guy is yeah, Dad Bob vibes. Dad Bob vibes. Not the hero. Do not send this guy out to fight demons. He's sending you out to fight demons. He's the giver of the quests, not the taker of the quests. No. That's the general block that I want. Let's grab some meatiness in here. I'm gonna overlay it with more contrast so it's easier for it to pop out for me. Oh, good point. Let's do that on top of his flesh here down to, we're going to call this color. And we're going to call this line. I don't expect to do more than just some basic blocking here, because now we have to go over to the vision pool. So we'll just block this in here real quick, and then we'll move on to the next part. So we're going to do a Bob Ross painting in the background of the forest that this guy is in, and then we're doing this, our typical art style for the seer and the vision pool that he is looming over. But I haven't done a Bob Ross painting in a hot minute, so we'll start doing that tomorrow. So those out there that like the Bob Ross stuff, check it out. Like, subscribe, blah blah blah. Not a great hand. This could use a little bit more work, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. It's just a bit ham-fisted, like literally. It needs to be probably a little bit more like this. Yeah, a bit more like that. It's not perfect. Yeah, it's not perfect. It's not horrible, but it's not perfect. We need to fix it. We'll get to it. I used to do my line art first, and still do sometimes, but with digital art, I almost always get the silhouette first, then change contrast levels and bring out the next level of depth of highlight. And do the opposite with the shadows. And the contrast creates the lines, and then I can, if I so choose, put in some wavelengths. Yeah, right on, because you do pixel art, so you don't really need lines if your composition doesn't call for it. Yeah, a lot of times I'll just do a silhouette and then fill in the details inside of the silhouette. It just depends on honestly, it just depends on what the muse wants me to do. She has her agenda for me, and I'm just following her lead. Let's grab. Here's our forest. I'm liking how that's sitting. Let's grab an image from ye old internet. Let's go with forest tree stump. Kind of like that one. Copy the image, bring it in. I'll do that. Since I don't see color, I need to use photos like this for image references. I'll show you that process here in a hot minute. Oh, I like this one. Free mystical forest sump photo. We'll use these 2 points of color. This light back here, streaming through the forest, that's, I think, a good color reference to have blocked behind the druid here, through this tree gate here. I think this is going to work well. Like, that's the same kind of color scheme that I want. And then we can have more dense foliage over here. That's reflected back in this area here and here. And I'm liking I like that. I think that's really cool. Let's grab this as a base color. No, let's grab this as a base color. Here. We'll grab that as a base color, and we'll work from there. So let me get Sozu out of the way, or Saiga out of the way. And we're going to use this as our color base. But I don't think we're quite there yet. Cut. We'll call this reference. We'll push it to the top. we'll create. I see conversation back there. Give me a hot second. We're going to call this line, and we're going to call this color. I don't need that for now, so I'm going to drop that away. We're going to go back to the line here. We're going to drop its opacity, as always, and now we're going to jump back into here. Hey, what's up? I wish I could understand completely what you see in colors without need for explanation. I just wish I knew the info. Well, it helped me so much. I've tried to help a colorblind person with their color palette, and it's near impossible for me mostly because I'm not sure the other person knows what they want. Yeah, I don't either. That's why I use image references like this, because as long as it's a photograph and there's not like some sort of sepia wash or something over it, I can trust that the colors that are being used here are good enough. And I keep getting told by professional artists, like Magic the Gathering card type artists or like Riot Games level artists, that it's once your contrast is good, the colors aren't really that important. And of course, I think a lot of like fine art masters would say, well, yeah, you can do a lot with actually being selective in your color palette and actually being meticulous in how you build it, like making sure that you're warm, like your highlights are warmer than your shadows, unless you're in some sort of cold light environment. Like there's a lot of nuances that can certainly go into the process, but a lot of artists say that once your contrast is good, you can fill in whatever colors make sense or even don't make sense but look good. So generally speaking, us colorblind folks, we can reliably lean on photo image references. That's why I paint digitally. I can't do color painting on a vellum canvas with splods of ink or splods of color because I can't mix them properly. Photoshop lets me mix the colors because I'm just sampling them off of things that are already the color that I need. I just need to make sure it's a decent decent reference image, and then I can just trust that it's going to do whatever it wants. And that's worked for plenty of paying clients. So I feel it's sufficient. People would not pay me money if the solutions that I came up with color work were untenable. You know, it has to work because people are willing to pay for it. Is where I'm at there. That's my proof. That's all the proof I need. And just like you, I am looking forward to seeing what you get to see. I think if there is an afterlife and this is all just a simulation that we wake up from, or if there really is a heaven, or however you want to describe that, I am pretty sure that when I die, the first thing I'm going to ask is, give me color. I want to see my art before I stop caring. While I still care, give me the opportunity to see that stuff. I want to see what I got to build. And then I'll fade into whatever quantum state I'm supposed to exist in. So I truly have something to look forward to when I die. I already have it set up in my life that death is going to be welcome, because then I finally maybe have a chance to see the art that I did while I was alive. Having a reason to die is kind of fun. It's the pain and suffering that you might have to face until you die. That's the concern. Like, that's why you want to save. That's why you want to have insurance. That's why you want to take care of your body and exercise and not over sugarify yourself so your brain rots. So you have the opportunity to minimize the amount of pain that you suffer through while you are still waiting to die. This one's I'm building out the line art for this, even though it is just a wood stump. I still want to have the architecture in place to make sure that it's the right angles and vibes with everything properly. And creates consistency with the other style. But like the background forest, like that's going to be all proper Bob Ross stuff. I spent a year and a half. I want to say 2016 into 2017, learning how to paint like Bob in Photoshop. And if you've watched a number of my streams, you'll occasionally see me do a forest environment or a mountain scene or something, and I'll pull out those techniques. So we're going to do that with the background of this as well, just to up the level of the game, just to make it look a little bit better. Plus, it's a fun challenge to create a backlit forest like that. It's just always fun to do. Hey, what's up? I think I missed something. Okay, in Mind's Eye, do you see color? And if so, do you recognize it as color? No. Like the geometric pattern that show up when you close your eyes for so long, if that makes sense. Yeah, I see fractals all the time when I close my eyes. And they're black and white. It's a surge of black and white. And what I basically just take a modern day movie that's using black and white and no color, but it has like really high level, like really good lens resolution, like the old black and white films of like the 20s. Those look like shit because the film was shit, and they're all like overexposed and washed out. But a modern movie that has scenes in black and white, I literally can't tell when they're switching from color to black and white. It doesn't change for me at all. So that's the best way. Go look at a modern day black and movie shot in black and white, and you'll see what I see. So literally everything that I do is built on contrast. The only way I can pick out one object from another is because of the contrast of the shadows that are being projected by the image and the texture and the different gradients of value in the material itself. But if there's like two black objects on a table, I think it'd be the same for you guys, for you as well. Like if there was two black colored objects on a table with no shadow, it'd be kind of hard to tell where one object began and the other one ended because it would be monotone with no kind of highlights or shadow across it. So when I put like a red and a brown that are close together in value, they merge together. They just disappear into each other. Fortunately, I have an incredibly highly acute sense of contrast. So I can pick out, like within like a pixel, it's easy. Like on the scale of 255, I can probably tell the difference between 255 and 253. It's like within one or two steps on the 255 scale. It's pretty acute. So it's easy for me to pick up on contrast, but I have to lean into contrast. So I might pick up on a subtlety, but I have to enhance that level of contrast. I have to use a sharper contrast color than I may have otherwise wanted to, because I want to make sure that it really pops off the page. So having strong contrast makes sure that pops. So, and then I just fill in the colors with whatever photo references match the level of contrast that I want. So like I'll want to use like this shadowy bit here, and I want to use this flat color here, and I want to use these highlights. Like there's a good amount of diversity and contrast here all across the same material. And the RGB slider up here in the corner, that helps make sure that I know what color I'm actually operating in at the time. Like, for example, I now realize that I haven't been using black. I've been using whatever this color is. So I'm going to fix that real quick. There. Saturation is color density. So no, it's strictly value. It is strictly value. Interesting though, actually, that's not 100% true, because I can tell between neon colors are artificially like hot, like bright. So I think that's like neon is like highly saturated color, right? As opposed to like earth tones that seem more muted and ruddy. So I guess there is a hint of saturation that I can pick up on. Like I can generally tell if a color is neon or like a pastel or an earth tone. Not always, but generally I can. So yeah, there is saturation there. I don't know how it is that I can pick up on the saturation without picking up on the tint. That's really weird. Tint is color information. Saturation is color density. Value is scale of 1 to 10 from black to white. Or 0 to 10 is black to white. So those are the three things: value, tint, and well, hue. I guess hue is actually that's a good point. It's hue is the actual color. Contrast is the value. Value up and down is contrast, and I think tint is color density. Let's look up the definition of tint. I think that's saturation. Define color tint. Lighter version of pure color created by adding white. Oh, got it. So yeah, saturation is the correct word. Definition of color mixed with black versus tint. A color mixed with black is called shade. So tint and shade. Thank you. Is it the value of saturation that pop most? Definitely contrast. Definitely the contrast. Yeah, value. Yeah, definitely the value. So when you use a color wheel, you can't see the colors. I can. It's not just like one. It's not like a circle, not a single color circle, because yellow has a higher value. Like if you look at industry concept designs, especially for cars, they always paint them in grayscale because each year there's only a limited palette of paint that they're going to be able to color the cars. But when they're designing the cars 5 years in advance, they don't know what paint is going to be available at that time. There's bands. There's a dark band, which is like 0 to 7. There's mid band, which is like 6 to 4, and then there's high value band, which is 8 to 10. And that high band value, it could be like a really bright blue. It could be yellow. It could be like a peach maybe. Now peach is going to be probably mid-tone. So you have like these bands. They don't know exactly what paint is going to be put on the car at the time. So when they design the car and they make a model out of it, and they put all the panels and stuff like that, like all the decals and stuff, it's always in grayscale because they don't know what colors are going to be available on the year that they actually start rolling the car off and painting them. So they have to build them in black and white, and they have to have good contrast so the lines of the car look good, built on where you have those points of contrast. They do that with appliances and furniture, and there's a large industrial, a manufacturing concept art industry that operates primarily in black and white at the initial stages of actually creating the components that are going to eventually be manufactured. And then you just worry about color later. So I could potentially, if I had known that, I could have angled myself towards production concept art as opposed to like game concept art, which is more like marketing art than actual concept art. But that was an industry that I didn't know I would have been able to function in if I'd just known. But I didn't know that until I'd already grown up and there was the internet. I grew up before the internet, so I'm one of those disconnected, well-adjusted souls. do like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a good stump. We're going to fill it in with water. So like some of this interior stuff is going to go away, but it's still there. So let's drop back in here with our color. What's up? So you see high valued blue and a high valued yellow as two different colors? No, if the values are different, I will see them as different blocks of gray. If the yellow and the blue were the exact same value, I would not be able to tell which one was which. And if you set them next to each other seamlessly, I would think it was just one solid object. But on the color wheel, specifically, when you're looking at color wheels, because the bands of each color are technically sitting at different values, I can see each ribbon distinguished in the color wheel. If you could somehow have red and green and yellow all the same, exact same value, I probably would not, I'm not going to say, I've never seen somebody do that. Because once you push red up above 7, it's not red anymore. It's like pink or some sort of weird pastel. And it just stops being red, you know? So to actually be red, it has to be dark on the value. It has to be low on the value scale. It has to be. Green has to be lower than yellow because green is mixed with yellow and blue. Yellow is the highest on the value table. Okay, great. So on your color picker on the top right, you don't see the color left to right. You see value top to bottom. Yeah, exactly. Because on my RGB, I've got R on the top, G in the middle, and B on the bottom. And depending on what the configuration is, I know that's yellow, right? This is probably some sort of like golden leaf. I know this is green. I know this is blue. I know that like this is, let's see, let's get this down here. Like this is a color, like a dark leather, right? I know that this is a pretty sharp leafy green, for instance. It's like I know some of the basic color combinations and configurations to know, like if I'm trying to draw a forest and it's like this, that's purple. Indigo, right? That's probably an indigo. This is probably a purple. So, like, I know that's not a fucking forest color unless I'm doing something freaky weird. So when I look at my reference here, this is going to be some sort of a, yeah, it's like a ruddiness, like this RGB. An RGB that has a slide like this has like a ruddiness to it. And the more tilted that line becomes, the more into like earth, like gritty earth or stone it becomes. The more shallow like this becomes, the more like organic matter, like leather, skin, like actual skin, hair even. The more vertical those lines are, the more flesh, more organic it is. The more horizontal that line is, the more mineral it becomes. Generally speaking, I'm sure there's contrast. I'm sure there's things that break that rule, but generally, that's the vibe that I've gotten after looking at RGB sliders on the color picker for X years. But I have just achieved my major objective for this session, which was to block in flats for the vision pool and for the Druid Diviner. So that's there, and now let's add in the Diviner, and I'm going to see a lack of contrast between the robes of the Diviner and this pool. These two look identical to me, but they're also very close in color. See how close they are in color? The RGB is almost identical. So what I need to do here for Sagu is in the color here, I need to take these blocks and instead I need to add in this for color. There. So now I've got plenty of contrast between here and here, and that sets my expectations for when we start painting the forest. Like I'm going to have darker trees here, and I'm going to have them backlit so I can justify the dark shadows by backlighting this. And the backlighting will be stark contrast against the thick shag of his mane, and this mid-tone robe will be a good contrast from dark foreground. And we're going to have here in the pool, we're going to do something like this. So as I'm composing this thing, what I'm thinking about is steps. Dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. So I can step. Like I want striation and everything. I want to have this this bright pool surrounded by something dark. I want the darkness here to have something lighter contrasting against it. So you can always see the break between objects, and they don't muddy themselves together. Similarly, like with this pelt, light fur, dark nose, light fur, dark claws. I'll need to up the contrast on that. But we have dark nose, light fur, dark beard, light teeth, dark mustache, light face, dark brow, light forehead, dark hair. So it's just stepping, breaking up the shape and creating these contrasts. So whenever a new object or structure is adjacent to another one, I want them to have a strong enough change in value to feel like you're stepping up or down in value as you move around the piece. And that builds for interesting composition. The eye is drawn to and compelled to that contrast, and it'll just fill in the detail. It'll just hand wave the color. The eye actually, because we started first with contrast, and then color vision started filtering in as our mind develops. Right, we start seeing additional colors. Black and white is all you see, and then green, and then red and yellow came to me. Sorry, quoting Tool there real quick, but yeah, we start off with black and white, and then color filters in. I never got out of the black and white stage, but our most instinctive level operates in contrast over color. Color provides additional useful information, but you want that contrast, and you want to see movement. Like tracking movement is noticing the contrast change from one point to another. If everything was the exact same color blue and there was no shadows anywhere, you wouldn't be able to see a blue car moving on a blue field, because it would all be the exact same blue without any kind of points of contrast, of highlights or shadows, to be able to differentiate one form from another despite whatever color they were. As it were. And then we'll trim that. We'll just let that clip the shadow. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. So this will be a fun piece. I can probably afford to drop the Divining Pool and the site. What's his name? Sulga. Thank you, Sulga. Probably drop it down to here. We may as well. Hey, since we're here, we may as well. Throw in our we may as well block everything in since we're here. Do it like that. I can turn it off for now. How are we doing on time? 7:45. Yeah, I may as well. This is about the point where we're going to wrap up. So what's going to happen tomorrow when we come back is we're going to focus on the forest. We're going to Bob Ross the shit out of this. So we already have a really good. This is a really good color reference for that light shining through background, and we can use this for the darker segments of the forest. So that's like. Let's take a look here. Wait, I'm on the wrong layer. Thank you. Go down to here. Yeah, this has got a bluish vibe to it, probably because of the atmospheric and eruption background. Now we can see that the red flips forward of the blue. That's a more like a reddish tree color. But if we drop back here in the background, you can see that blue is now slightly ahead. That's because of atmospheric distortion. Because the sky is blue. And the further we, well, it's supposed to be, oh, we got green going through there. Don't make me a liar. There we go. So you can see this patch of sunlight that's coming through up here is slightly more blue, but it's also further back in the forest. So as we drop back here, we also have that same slight tilt off, just off gray, because its back is going to be gray, but it also has this darker influence of blue because it's pushed so far back from the camera. This here, this mildly red is almost gray, right? Very low saturation. See how this is also similar? This is actually a really good illustration to demonstrate with. Let me zoom in here for a second here and see if I can find a good color we can stick with. Yeah, we'll go there. Very low saturation. We'll go here. And I fucked up. Those are incredibly close. Not a good example then, I guess. I thought I had a point here. I thought this was going to be a higher saturation. There we go. That's high saturation. There's very little difference. Like if you can see up here, I'll zoom out here for a second. Let's look at this. Here's one color and here's the other color, right? These are very, very close. This one here. Right, so this one here was in the foreground where the shadow was darker. This one here was now this was in the foreground. It was a sharper color, yeah, and then this one was in the background. They're very close, but they're off by like this is like this is like a 5.5 on a scale of 0 being black and 10 being white, and like this is a 5.2. Something like that. Maybe like a 4 and like a 3.7, something like that. Very close in value, but it's the same tree, but it's desaturated. Like this desaturation and graying out as you move further away from the image is the whole point. Is that as you move the camera further away, you desaturate your colors. The more you want your colors to flatten out, to become more gray, to reduce the difference in colors, while retaining the value that you need for the distance in the piece, like its level of shadow or whatever. So there's a lot of different elements that move around in the color composition, but this has good contrast. Like there's good foliage stuff that I can play with here, and then this piece here has pretty good lighting coming through. So I'll be using probably snippets off of both of these illustrations, and I might pick up something for more brush work, like bushes and stuff. We might pick up. But that's about all the time I have for today. Things color seeing artists can do better is rendering right on. Do some colorblind tutorials giving this type of information. Okay. That's the easier drawing ever. A blue car on a blue road with a blue sky. Right on. Yeah, maybe this Saturday I'll just do some general theory ideas like this. But I mean, if that quick crash course worked, then I can just pull that as a separate thing, and then just share that. I don't know. This is like maybe the 6th or 7th time I've held that conversation on the stream as I go through this process of color picking. So I could probably organize it into something a little bit more formal. But yeah, I think more colorblind artists would have have a massive sense of relief if they knew that they could operate in color and just focus on what they actually know, and make that their strength. So I'll see if I can put something together. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. Tomorrow we're going to come back and we're going to build a forest. So I've spent a number of years learning how to make Bob Ross paintings. I'll show you, I guess, one of the pieces that I had done. Let's go here. It's 90. Let's see. Income. No, I want crystals. And then art. And then production. And then what do I want? 92, let's go. This might have one of them. Yeah. So, Bob Ross style paintings. We'll be doing this sort of stuff tomorrow. There's our full page. Yep, so we'll be doing that type of stuff. That's what we're doing tomorrow. We'll be doing that for this forest here, and then we'll do the details on Solgu and the Vision Well. We'll move from the back of the piece and just move forward. Now that we have these contrasts set up, and I like the striation here of this contrast, that gives me plenty of framework for me to be able to build out a really good looking forest. And we'll get rid of the text, and we'll probably just build this forest out, even though most of it is going to get disappeared. I can just put less and less detail as we get further out towards the edge here, but I'll be able to do a proper little forest scene here. So that's probably what we'll be doing for the rest of the week, potentially into Tuesday. We might spend like 5 or 6 episodes building this forest, but it'll look really fucking great when it's done. So stay tuned for that. That's what we're going to get up to. That is my timer to say it is time for me to punt on out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and punt on out of here. And God, Defected, thanks a lot for the conversation. I love talking color theory. And I know being colorblind and a painter is a bit of an anomaly. There's not a lot of us out there, so it's certainly a point of interest. Anyone that's checking up on the channel here, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll be back tomorrow to do the Bob Ross painting background. And thanks a lot for hanging out with me, guys. I really appreciate y'all. Let's see, drawer. Yeah. All right. See you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot.